Hi all, welcome to another video on Palo Alto in general, but so specifically focusing on SCM as we're doing at the minute. Again, just really quickly get the business out of the way of, if you could like and subscribe the video, that would be fantastic. It helps with everything. Subscription helps with everything, helps support the channel. And as I said, sort of in other videos, we're looking to do sort of a lot more over 2025 and try and expand the channel and try and develop it into something that's a real resource for people. So that would be really good if you could. So with that out of the way, as I've said in multiple videos now so far, I believe that decryption, SSL decryption, is very much a requirement within enterprise environments. So much traffic is encrypted, and majority of next gen firewalling is blind to it because it's encrypted and it can't see it. So of course the option is to decrypt it. There are a lot of operational issues with decrypting. Of course, decryption, for anybody who works in the industry who's watching this, will know that usually it's switched on and switched off. I don't think it happens as much now as it used to do, but when it first came out, when it was first a thing, it was sold to everybody, yep, you're going to gain visibility into your traffic. But the nuances around SSL decryption and what needed to be done and so on often meant that the implementation of it was a lot more complicated than people thought. So we've moved on a lot since then. I think people have realised that we need to decrypt that traffic. It's enterprise traffic, it's business traffic, but there's still certain precautions we have to take. So again, in SCM, because this recent sort of spate of videos has been directed at SCM, because again, this is where I think Palo are looking to go now, and I really like it, frankly, because it looks quite cool. In a previous video, we looked at sort of where things were and where the profiles were and where the decryption, where the security policies were within SCM, and now we're going to look at quickly building our decryption rules out. So the first thing to remember is basically out of the bat. So when you go into Global Protect configuration scope, you'll see that you've got the Prisma Access pre-rules. Prisma Access pre-rules come from this hierarchy here, and this, you've got recommended best practice for decryption, because as we say, we have a certain set of policies across a configuration scope now. So the best practice, it's these aren't I don't disagree with them in any way, shape or form. I think they're good, but I just don't think they go. I think they go some way to help him. But it's so, for instance, web-based email. I think you'd have some issues with decrypting web-based email, web hosting. So what I tend to do is I tend to disable them. You can't do it from here. You'd have to go to Prisma Access and do it from where the root of the thing is. So then our rules here that we're going to put here, we're going to add our first rule, which is going to be our decrypt rule. Actually, let's have a look at the decryption profiles first. So the decryption profiles is the main aim of this video is actually something that was brought to my attention recently by a Palo professional services guy, and I thought, yeah, do you know, I missed that, and I don't know why I missed it. So when we're creating our decryption profiles, a decryption profile is the quality and the aspects of the connection that your firewalls or your cloud nodes or whatever are going to accept. So we're going to make this our mode 44 no decrypt. And again, this is, so we've got our general settings here. So what are we going to accept? Well, we're not going to accept 3DES, for instance. We're going to remove that. So any site that's presented us with 3DES, we're not going to have that. RC4. These are all very, this is very common configuration now to remove those because they're insecure. And then we look at our SSL4 proxy. Well, we've already named it no decrypt. So we're not doing the SSL4 proxy. And inbound inspection, again, this isn't for that. So we look at our no decryption section at the bottom, which is here, and we've got two options, which is block sessions with expired certificates and block sessions with untrusted issuer. So straight out of the bat, you say, okay, well, we're not decrypting this, but what we are doing is we're adding a layer of security and integrity to the connections that we're going to allow people to have, so they don't end up in a situation where they're unwillingly connecting to what is low security websites and so on. So we're going to go with block sessions with expired certificate, block sessions with untrusted issuer. Okay, and for that, we're going to apply that to our decrypt exception rule, which is, there's another one in there, so we'll edit that one in a second. And then we're going to have our decrypt profile, which is handily already there. And again, we've got the same thing again. So we've removed the insecure protocols, and now we're going to start concentrating on our SSL forward proxy checks. So I suggest we would block sessions with expired certificates, probably untrusted issuer, and then unsupported version, unsupported cipher, definitely. You don't want to start doing that and degrading and so on. So we're going to save that. So now we've got our two decryption profiles that we're going to have. That's obviously been edited, and you can see there's no rules using that. So our decryption exception, well, we're going to look and we're going to see, we're going to go from our trust to untrust, because this is trust to untrust. I've selected my global pool because that's the only IP range I have. And then we're going to select the URL categories that we're not going to decrypt. And that's really based on, there's legislation and stuff that you can't decrypt. So anything that's like personally identifiable, because that's obviously now in plain text. So anything that might be confidential, of course, you need to make sure that remains confidential. Company policy may or may not sort of say, they shouldn't be using it for that kind of thing, and maybe you want to block it. So we've got government, health and medicine, shopping because of transactions and so on, or shopping if I can spell it correctly. And then we have financial. Okay, and again, we just select these just by clicking the little plus sign there, and we select it. And we can use others to match as well. We can add SaaS application endpoints, and we can add external dynamic lists. And what we're going to do with this one now is we are going to not decrypt. So we've got decrypt and not decrypt. And the profile we are going to use is we are going to use our no decrypt profile. And I always log successful as well as unsuccessful, but it makes a lot of noise because hopefully all your traffic is going to work. So we'll just do that. Yeah? So that's our decrypt exception. So now we're saying, okay, for these things here, that's really worked well. For these here, now we're not going to decrypt those. So the rest of them is going to be our mode 44 decrypt policy, and these are very basic policies. There's a lot more that you can do. So you can add URL lists and things like that. You can get really granular with what you are going to decrypt, what you aren't going to decrypt. You can remove certain sites from things and so on. So our destination there. So we're going to use any users. We're going to come from our global protect pool. We could use known user, but at the minute, in this particular instance, we wouldn't need that. It's going to go to our untrust. So this is going to the internet device profiles. I'll show you that in a minute, actually. And then for this one, of course, we're going to decrypt. We're going to use SSL forward proxy, and we're going to use our mode 44 decrypt profile, and we're going to leave the log settings the same. Just to revisit that, the no decrypt for the HIP profile. So I had a bit of an issue with one of my phones in the lab, so I put in this quickly. And just to say, if you find it down here it is. So in the source, I created a HIP profile which was Android, and that Android simply is saying is Android OS. So Android OS, no decrypt. That's it. That set it for that. So everything else would be decrypted, but any Android devices, which I was struggling to get the certificate on at the time, would not have been decrypted. Okay, so we're going to decrypt everything else, and we're going to pick on a particular website. I'm just going to push that. So that is my decryption policy. You can tell it's early in the morning. I can't spell. Okay, so I'm going to push that now, and then when we come back, we'll do some testing, and we're going to pick on a particular website, just purely and simply because I know for a fact that it's missing the intermediate certificate, which is also missing from SCM for whatever reason. So it's that I really wanted to demonstrate, because this is what the professional services guy helped me out with, and it's made a big difference. So let that push. Okay, so now that's pushed. So we'll just go quickly to the desktop, and we'll just check now that we're getting decryption. Okay, so now on our desktop, we're going to go to Edge, and we're going to go to Siemens website, which again it's not picking on their security. The security is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with the website. It's just that it doesn't present an entire chain. It doesn't present the full chain, as in have the certificate, supply the certificates, which we'll see. So we're going to go to this. Hit this, hit that, and then we see is error connection closed, and we can't reach the page because we're now decrypting it. Okay, so if we go back to SCM, so now back in SCM, and again, you know, the luxury that we have of the fact that I'm the only user on the network. If we just go straight to the log viewer, and then we go to traffic, the really good field to look for when you're looking on any Palo firewall is the session end reason. The reason I say that is because one of the most infuriating things, and it bugged me so much when I first started using Palo, that you could literally have an any allow rule that still blocked traffic, and it's like it's still not getting across. It's like, why is it not getting across? So I'd go for session end reason. That way you can see why it ended. Even though it was allowed, you can see what it was. If it's TCP fin, if it's whatever, then that's all good. Reset maybe, it's all good. But if it's anything else, and you'll see where it is, was it threat that denied it? So was it URL filtering? Was it DNS security? Was it anything? In this particular instance, what we're looking for is this particular monster right here, Decrypt Cert Validation. And this tells us, although my security rule is a bit weird, so please ignore that. As I say, it's all getting torn down in literally a matter of days anyway. So this tells us that I wandered off to this website and I got the Decrypt Cert Validation. Okay, which means that it's untrusted. So if we go, so let's say we pull this destination address and we just quickly click on that, which I've made a complete town halls of there. Okay, copy that, and go to there, go to decryption, have a look at decryption. Actually, I didn't need to do that, did I? Because I'm the only person on the network. So then we go into decryption, and then we have a look at the logs here, and then we'll see if we move down, we look for root status. So root status and change status is untrusted. Now, I can absolutely guarantee you that the certificates that Siemens.com is presenting are absolutely valid. Absolutely 100% valid. The reason for this, as I discovered, and their strength is absolutely perfect. Everything about it's perfect. This is absolutely, I can't make this clearer. This is absolutely no dig at anything. There's nothing discovered with Siemens Energy or anything like that. It's literally just because they don't present that certificate. So when we come back to our configuration and we look at our decryption, because of our decryption profile, if we just go back to Global Protect, so because of our decryption profile, we are saying if we don't trust the route or if we don't trust the train, well, because it's not supplying all the certificates, that's why we don't trust it. And that is, in certificate management, so I'll show you we can find it. So it's the intermediate certificate at this point, okay? If we go into here, we can look in our trusted certificate authorities, and if you look in there and search for what I'm going to show you in a minute, you'll find that it's not there. Okay, so when we go to SSL Labs to do the testing, I'm not concerned about the rest of it. You can see that it's all happy with the protocols and everything. Again, there is nothing wrong. There's no reason at all why Siemens Energy is just simply a website I know of that doesn't supply the certificates. So we can see that we've got a chain issue there which is incomplete, so we're going to expand that. We can look and we can see that we've got this one. So this DigiCert Global Route G2 actually exists in our Trust store, as it says. Sent by server is its own certificate, but the extra download is the DigiCert Global G2 TLS. So what we can do is, and that's what's causing the problem. That's what's causing the problem. Because of that, because we don't have that in our Trust store on Prisma, it's failing because it says that the chain is untrusted. So what we can do is we can then go and we can download. So on DigiCert's certification site, we're going to do a Control F and we're going to just paste the name of our certificate in there. And we see we've got it there. That's the one. We're going to download the PEM. So we've got the PEM downloaded, and then we're going to go back to our Strata Cloud Manager. We're going to come into Configuration, NGFW, and we're going to come to Global Protect, Objects, Certificate Management. Or if we wanted this to be available to everything, we could put it in. In fact, let's do that. Let's put it in global. That's going to be the best practice. It's going to be the best way to do it. Okay. So now in global configuration scope, we're going to import a certificate. And that certificate is going to be the. I'll just paste that in there, which I know for a fact is a bit too long. So we'll drop these out because we don't really need them. I'm going to browse for the certificate file, which is there. Okay, I'm going to save that. And then the only other thing we need to do then is once it's uploading in there, we need to go to it. We need to tell it it's a trusted route CA. We need to update that. It will take a little bit of time. I've noticed this when you start messing with certificates. It does seem to be a little bit of, it does slow down slightly. And then we need to push that. So we're going to push that out. Here, service connections aren't going to need this. Potentially remote networks might do. So this is cert. Crikey Moses import. Okay, so we're just going to push that out to everything that it needs to go out to. And then once that's pushed, assuming that I know what I'm talking about and everything is all is well, we should be able to go back, and now we'll be able to see that we can get that decryption. It can go through, and we won't see the validation error. It's being blocked because effectively, because of our profile, we're blocking that connection. So if we unticked, so let's just show that. So just to say that if we come back to Global Protect, and we come down to our decryption rules and our decrypt profile. Sorry, no, I'm lying. Yeah, our decrypt profile. Sorry. If we'd unticked this, it had gone through because they weren't expired certificates. None of the certificates were expired. So that would have been fine. The thing to watch out for is even if you have a decryption exception, which is in this case, if your no decrypt profile also looks for block sessions with untrusted issuer, you would see exactly the same thing. And it can become a little confusing. Probably, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid or something, I don't know. It can become a little bit confusing. You think, well, I'm not decrypting anything, so how can I have an error? Do you know what I mean? So that's really, that's why I wanted to show that. And then we can go to operations, push status, and we can see how the push is going. And then once that's done, we'll go back and we'll check. Okay, so now that's pushed. Let's go over to the remote desktop, our test machine, and then let's go back to, let's just accept that. Let's go back to sep.siemensenergy.com. Okay, and now we see that all is well. We don't get our error message, and just to show that we are still decrypting it, so connection is secure. Let's have a look at the certificate. So the certificates we got here, obviously the issued by certificate, the certificate that I'm seeing straight away is the Siemens Energy one, but it's signed by me, that's so I can decrypt it. And then we have the chain back from here. So that's now being decrypted. We can see it's being decrypted from here, and we have no errors. Additionally, if we nip back to here, come back into log viewer and have a look at our logs, again based on the fact that, you know, fortunately for me, I'm the only one. We get a slightly different address maybe, and it's running a bit slowly, but we won't see that decrypt error anymore. Although this has defaulted to come back to decryption, so just give me a second. So if we go back to traffic, just as a side note as well, whilst it's pulling those logs as well, just remember that you have got Copilot now. Copilot is included with it, so you start to write queries and stuff like that. Queries are actually quite easy, to a greater or lesser extent, I think, because, you know, it's I mean, like, so for instance, if we want to do that again, so we are going to go for session end reason equals decrypt error. Give me a minute. Decrypt cert validation. So you can write them that way, or with Copilot you can write in there, I want to do this, but be very careful with it, because when you do that, you then have to, like with the way AI seems, it does get it half right, but you have to use a bit of common sense and to work out what it's after. And so there we go. So 9:45, which is obviously the last one, and is a while back, and we know we've accessed it since then. So we don't get any more to there. If we take that address, and then we just pull that from there, pull that, and then when we look at the logs, what we should see now is we should see a healthy connection. So aged out, because it's just aged out, it's just died, it's not decrypt error anymore, everything's all good, it's going to the same place. So that's basically making your way around both decryption, configuring decryption and decryption profiles in SCM for Prisma access. And then what we did was we addressed the fact that we want to maintain that security by not allowing expired or untrusted certificates, but we need to make sure as well that what we don't do is, when we hit validation errors, the worst thing we can possibly do is have a company turn around to us and say, well, okay, we want to stop SSL decryption, because then you lose visibility into that traffic. But also we don't want to just start wholesale putting in exceptions, because you can also put an exception into that, unless you get caught on the no decrypt one as well. You can put exceptions in, you can craft exceptions with URL categories and create a custom URL category. But you have to understand that every exception that is made within a security platform, certainly for things like SSL decryption, every exception that's made is, you're just covering your eyes more and more each time, to the point where you're now allowing a funnel of traffic to go through that you can't see. So I hope that's been helpful. Thank you very, very much if you've got this far. I know not many people do. I must have a boring voice or something. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.